Hey there friends, welcome to Fix This House. On today's episode, we're going to be pouring this huge concrete slab against my parents' home. They just bought a used shed and they want to have a nice sturdy foundation to put that shed over. They decided to go with a concrete slab. We're going to be measuring about 15 by 10, so that's 150 square feet of concrete that we're going to be covering. Also going to be prepping out the area using a little rake, digging out 4 inches deep so that we can have a nice foundation. Here is the area that's cleared. We're going to be using some 2x4s for framing. So we ran a little bit short. I measure up it again so to make sure that it is 15 by 10. We're going to get rid of the grass. The rest of this dirt we're going to be using as fill dirt later, so make sure that you save that. So now just carefully place out the 2x4s and frame it. We're using this wooden stakes to hold it in place. Always measure and make sure that each side perfectly the same length. So here it is, a little bit raised up. Notice how it is nice and level. We're securing it with some wood screws. Again, the 2x4s aren't that long, so they only come by 8, so we had to have to cut and attach an additional. Taking that fill dirt, we're going to fill against the perimeter so that we can close off any openings. Just like what you see there in the front, we don't have that concrete pour out when we start pouring later on. So there you have it. We have it nice and framed. All the sides are filled from the outside. Now we're going to be using our tamper tool, and you want it to be on a nice hard surface. Okay, so since this is going to be a huge piece of concrete slab, we're going to be placing down some mesh. So this is a wire mesh you can get at Home Depot or Lowe's. And to make the job faster, we are going to be using a concrete mixer. So there's a way to measure out how much concrete you need for a job. If you go to Quikrete on their website, there is a concrete calculator. So it all depends what pound bags you're going to be using. With 150 square feet, and we're using 60-pound bags, so that's equivalent to 112 bags total. But you want to add a little bit more than that, so that just in case that you run a little bit short or just some mistakes are made, you have a little bit of extra. But go to the Quikrete website, and that's easily how you can figure out what amount of concrete bags you need depending on the pound size. See, we filled out a bucket. It makes it a little easier to have the water available instantly rather than just using your hose and spraying it inside the concrete mixer. You have available water and you can easily mix the water right away so that it keeps the workflow going. Now we are screeding the area. Make sure you use that 2x4 and screed out. Now we're using that concrete edger so that we can make that expansion joint right in the middle of this concrete slab. So now it's all a matter of just using that finishing trowel. I want to skim down the edges using that 2x4 as a level and a guide so that you know the level that you're actually going to smooth out. So this concrete should start to harden in a few minutes. depending on the temperature outside, but you can place a 2x4 on top and actually use that so that you can get into the furthest areas. Using the edger to make that expansion joint right in the middle. And you can see that we're using this broom. Now this broom adds a little bit of texture. It's a little bit of trick that you can do. It's not necessary, but it's totally up to you if you want to add that texture. And this one, we're adding a little bit of design on the edges using that edger so that we can have a nice design. This one's optional as well. You can go all the way texture at the edge, but giving this gives it a nice framing at the end. So if you need any of the tools that we used on this video, I'll leave all the links on the description down below. You want to use the broom nice and slow. Take your time. You don't want to rush it. And it all comes down to finesse. Again, this takes finesse, and also the edging does take a little bit of finesse as well. So it's a very straightforward job. We're going to leave this 2x4 framing for a few hours before we can remove it. But you can see it's completely done. That's pretty much it. Just wait for this to fully dry out. Then we can start putting the shed on top. Now we're starting to build the shed. This is what it looked like before. This was the preparation with the wood frame. Again, this is 4-inch deep. And this is what it looks after, and another after with the shed on top. So there you have it. We kept it a little bit off the edge, giving a little bit of space at the front so that you can have that nice entrance to the shed, and a little bit space at the back of the shed for a few more storage areas just in case you want to have things hidden and out of sight. So there you have it. Looks nice. If you found this video helpful, please hit that like, subscribe, and notification bell, and I'll see you friends on the next video.